So you know how Donald Trump and MAGA are always talking about how they're alpha? They're alpha. Well, Vladimir Putin is showing Donald Trump who the alpha is in that relationship, humiliating Donald Trump and Melania and putting them through this cruel humiliation ritual to show who controls who. So on the main Russian TV station, which is basically their version of Fox, which Vladimir Putin directly controls, they broadcast an entire segment showing Melania's nudes while the host started laughing and basically mocking Melania and Donald Trump to the camera over and over again. I'm obviously not going to show the nude photographs here on YouTube, but I'll show you some screenshots of what it looked like, and you can just take a look right here what they were showing. And then the hosts couldn't contain their laughter as they looked in the camera. I'll talk about what it actually says while they were talking about Melania. It says, now that Melania Trump's husband has finally won, she is getting ready to come back to the White House for a second time. Here is how Melania looked in the year 2000. This is the cover of the magazine GQ. The future First Lady of the United States lies on top of furs in a negligee. Inside the magazine, Melania's sexy photos near a private plane, and aboard the plane. In one of the shots, the model is wearing only her underwear, lying on a blue carpet with the U.S. seal, as though the editors of the men's magazine knew something in advance about the future of their model. The segment ended with music and a series of photos of Melania Trump, along with the voiceover, "What does my body, my choice really mean?" Obviously mocking America, mocking Melania Trump. You see this AI photo right here of Vladimir Putin walking Donald Trump right there. This is how it's being reported in international papers. Sick stunt. Melania Trump's nude pics on Russian TV sparks outrage as state media broadcast photos after Donald wins re-election. I just want you to think about that. I mean, obviously, Vladimir Putin cannot do that to President Biden because Dr. Jill Biden didn't engage in that type of behavior, but just think about the message it sends, and Vladimir Putin does control that state-run TV, so that wouldn't be able to be broadcast without Vladimir Putin's approval and direction. Remember in 2018, though, when Melania confronted Vladimir Putin, or he confronted her for the very first time? Do you remember what her face looked like? Take a look at our friends who we work with over at Now This Impact, just to remind you of that very moment. You can see how terrified she is of him, as though he knows some secrets about her. Here, watch this. Should also be noted that as Vladimir Putin is establishing his dominance over Donald Trump and mocking the United States, which frankly didn't occur when President Biden was in office, one of Donald Trump's senior advisors, Brian Lanza, gave an interview where he said the following: Crimea is gone, he says. The senior Trump advisor says Ukraine needs to have realistic war aims and basically turn over its land to Vladimir Putin. Now, the Trump administration now said, well, we didn't really agree with what he's saying right there, but he's a senior advisor to Donald Trump. You can hear in his own words what he says. I will play it for you. Play this clip.
Zelensky, for example, he says his goal is to get Crimea back. Well, that's not the goal of the United States, and that's not the goal of the European nation states. We learned that in 2014, that when Putin invaded Crimea, Europe did nothing. And so now when Zelensky says, we will only stop this fighting, there will only be peace once Crimea is returned, we've got news for President Zelensky. Crimea is gone. And if that is your priority of getting Crimea back and having American soldiers fight to get Crimea back, you're on your own. That is not the priority of America. But the priority of America is peace and to stop the killing.
I mean, you heard him say Crimea is gone. And by the way, this is at the same time that Don Jr., Donald Trump's son, also a senior advisor who's going to be running things at the White House, posted this on his Instagram story. POV, point of view, you're 30 days from losing your allowance, Zelensky. And it's a bunch of images that like zoom in on Zelensky, and Zelensky's face looks scared in the video while money flies all over Zelensky's face. Here's the article as reported in the Kyiv Independent, one of their top newspapers in Kyiv. Trump Jr. mocks Zelensky, Ukraine, in meme about losing allowance. This, as Trump's advisor says, basically cede Crimea. And this, as Vladimir Putin is having state-run TV in Russia show the nudes of Melania as the hosts mock Melania and mock Donald Trump and basically mock the United States of America, because now Russia views America like we're hungry. The country hungry, and also perhaps that America is hungry for Russia, the way Donald Trump wants Vladimir Putin to, show him, Donald Trump is begging Vladimir Putin for help. So just to remind you as well of what went down in the first Trump administration. Remember the very first people who Donald Trump called to the Oval Office? Remember, it was Sergei Lavrov as well as Sergei Kislyak, the two top Russian foreign leaders, went to the United States. Remember this photo right here in our Oval Office right there as the Russians were laughing and mocking us. Then Donald Trump went and had a private meeting with them with no U.S. officials present. And it was just Russian interpreters, no U.S. interpreters, Kislyak and Lavrov. Remember, Donald Trump gave them highly classified information. I'm not just saying that like I think he gave highly classified information. The Washington Post reported that Trump revealed highly classified information to Russian foreign minister and ambassador, and then Trump admitted to it on May 16, 2017. He said, "As president, I wanted to share with Russia at an openly scheduled White House meeting, which I have the absolute right to do, facts pertaining to terrorism and airline flight safety, humanitarian reasons, plus I want Russia to greatly step up their fight against ISIS and terrorism." And again, just giving our classified information to Russia. Once upon a time, the United States all agreed with, when Ronald Reagan at least said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. Well, now you have Russia showing nudes of a first lady and mocking the United States. Just think about that. Again, for all the people out there, like, don't you have any self-respect? Now Russia's treating the United States of America like a satellite country, like a country that needs to place its loyalty to Russia. That's what the United States has become. Take a look at some of these international newspapers right here. The Daily Mirror in the UK. What have they done again? The New European. It's a photo of the Statue of Liberty unaliving herself, and then the German magazine literally just says FUCK, and that's what it is. Vanity Fair says 34 felony counts, 1 conviction, 2 cases pending, 2 impeachments, 6 bankruptcies, 4 more years right there. Remind you as well of the courage that Zelensky showed. Let me show you right here what he had previously said when he was on Meet the Press. Let me show it to you right now. Let's play this clip.
President Zelensky, thank you so much. Before you go, if you want to share, what keeps you going? Do you ever feel defeated?
I have a lot of power, but even feeling strong and have a lot of energy, it doesn't mean that we want to fight all our life, because the price is high, like I said, because the war takes the best of us, the best heroes, the best men, women, children. That's it. But we are not ready to give our freedom to this terrorist Putin. That's it. That's why we are fighting. That's it.
President Zelensky, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Then to remind you what went down at the various events that Donald Trump would hold as he was running for office. This was Ted Nugent, one of Donald Trump's surrogates. Here's what he had to say about Zelensky. Play this clip.
I want my money back. I didn't authorize any money to Ukraine to some homosexual weirdo. I want my money back.
On the other hand, in the pro-democracy community, you had Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro, who was in Scranton, where a major manufacturing plant was helping Ukraine in its war efforts. So again, to all the people in Scranton who maybe worked at that factory, who voted for Trump, you not only voted against your union, you also voted against your own jobs as well. Here's Zelensky visiting the Scranton Army ammunition plant in Scranton, Pennsylvania. While there, he and Governor Shapiro signed 155 millimeter howitzer rounds meant for the war in Ukraine. Let me show you. I showed you the Ted Nugent clip before, just to show you how the right-wing propaganda was working. And how they would discuss these events. Like you saw how crazy that Ted Nugent clip was, right, about Zelensky. And that's how these MAGAs talk about things. But here's how they normalize it on the right-wing TV media. Play this clip.
Exactly. His remarks, amazing, about Zelensky and I want my money back. He is channeling what a lot of Americans feel, not just at the rallies, but I suspect some of the real Americans we'll talk to in a minute, and people at home who are streaming this live, who are undoubtedly cheering along with Ted Nugent. And then
here is previously in Zelensky's appearance on Meet the Press, you can see that Zelensky does not seem to be a huge fan of Donald Trump and says he doesn't know if he'd have Ukraine's back if he returns to office. Play this clip.
Have you had any contact with former President Trump since he left office, President Zelensky?
No. That's why he's very welcome. To repeat our tradition, which was when he was the president.
Do you think he would have Ukraine's back if he were to be reelected?
I don't know. I don't know. I hope that it depends not only on president institutionally. I think it depends on the opinion of Americans, of your society. I think that is most important. I think it's important in the United States and EU, the attitude of just ordinary people. It's their support, it's their money. It's depends on that.
You know, so I think it's important that we see these things. I think it's important that we know that America right now is that Donald Trump is having America submit to Russia. And I think it's important you see like what Russia's doing to Trump and how they're treating the administration already like clowns. But judge for yourself. Maybe you think that is alpha. You know, maybe you believe it's alpha when, big tough alpha men, when other men put nudes of your wife out there on TV and start laughing in your face. I guess that's what a MAGA alpha is. Oh, okay, that sounds like something else to me. Anyway, hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers. We're going to keep reporting it, folks. We'll keep you updated. We'll be on the front lines together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.